Well, hello again. I'm getting a lot of chatter on the YouTube channel about doing dry fasting, what's going to dry fasting, how often can I dry fast, and I thought, oh man, time for a walk. There's a couple of things you have to worry about with dry fasting. One, do you have enough fat? You have to have some adipose tissue because that's what your body's going to tear into for glycerol, for plasma glucose, and free fatty acids for water and energy, ATP. So the idea being, if you have enough weight, if you have enough fat to live off the fat, because that's how you stay alive on a dry fast, then you won't tear up your muscle tissue, you'll survive all the hormetic stress of the dry fast, and even better, you'll get all these benefits without any problems. So be a little fat. The other thing is don't do it too often. You know, when your stem cells go into regeneration on day 3 to day 5 of a 7-day dry fast, then you end up with a brand new set, millions and millions and millions of stem cells in their little niches and all the little niches all over the fascial matrix, your whole structural body. And they have to sit in there and start pumping out paracrine signals. The idea here is the paracrine signals don't necessarily do anything like, you know, propagating brand new tissue in that area. It could just be residing in that niche to pump out its paracrine signals to teach other cells around it to be young. You know, when I wrote the Phoenix Protocol, dry fasting for rapid healing and radical life extension, it ended up being a foundational pillar in the longevity regime that I write about in my next book, which should be coming out very soon here. The idea here is you don't do it too often. You know, you're very excited when you first do dry fasting. You find it, you can do this with your body and all that kind of stuff. Well, don't do it too often. I mean, if you're grossly overweight and you can't control your weight, do a dry fast and see if some of the food choices change because you've gotten rid of parasites. And if you're still really overweight, you can do 5-day dry fast every month and start knocking the weight down progressively. But then you don't do it. You gotta hang back to like 6 months to a year between dry fasts because, quite frankly, it's a very, very hard hormetic stress. Easy to do. It's one you can obviously accomplish and complete. I mean, it's one of the things we did as a species as we evolved from the other apes into this big brain human that we are. So yeah, you don't do it too often and don't rely on that for everything. You got to go to the gym, you got to work out, you got to eat right, you got to do all these other things that a lot of these other channels talk about. And they're talking about it in the sense that, and here's what's funny, in the sense that, yeah, if you don't dry fast, then yeah, you better be very careful with what you eat because it's going to accumulate and it's going to have a big effect on your health. But if you do dry fast, every year you take away a lot of the problems that bad food makes. Not calling it a hall pass, but it sure changes your idea of life. Because when you do control the ability to get rid of the toxins that build up, and especially that first one, you'll see stuff come out of you won't even believe. Then yeah, you're going to end up with a whole different attitude about your life, about your control. You don't have to listen to authorities because generally they don't deserve authority status. And trust yourself. Get the book, Phoenix Protocol, get the book, Neogenesis, and get the third book, A Philosophy of Time Travel, which goes into a lot more of this. But for dry fasting, for my new homies out there that are first dry fasting, don't do it too often. Enjoy it. Take your time. There's no rush. Figure out how you want to do this. Figure out if it's right for you, all that kind of good stuff. And the way to do that is just try a weekend. Why don't you try to like dry fast for 3 days to prove that you don't die in 3 days? I mean, I've done 6, 7-day dry fasts now, so it's like pretty sure I haven't died yet. So again, you make water in the cells all the time anyway. It's not as though you don't make your own endogenous water. So that's the thing. Today is welcome to the channel. Welcome all my new guys and gals out there that are doing this, that are trying to take control of their health and their life. You're on the right path, and I'm not going to steer you wrong. So that's the deal. You know, we love dry fasting. It's not a panacea for everything. There's very little for bone density and muscle strength, but that's a whole different issue. That's all neogenesis. So anyway, that's the deal today. Anyway, take care. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for buying the books. And there's a lot more in store. Take care. Bye now.